If you're currently struggling with a plateau in fitness, let me be the first to congratulate you on your success. I know that's not the rhetoric we usually have around plateaus in fitness. Usually they're seen as a bad thing because it means that you're no longer making any progress. But we've kind of got it a little bit backwards, because a plateau means that you actually have been making progress up to this point, and most people don't even get that far. And moreover, a plateau is a completely necessary part of the overall growth and improvement process in all aspects of success and fitness. But that's important to understand, because most of the time when we hit a plateau, we make one of three massive mistakes that not only compromise your future progress, but can even send you backwards and lose the progress that you've been making thus far. So mistake number one is thinking, okay, now that the diet and exercise habits that I've been following are no longer working, I'm going to radically make changes, because obviously the bigger changes that I make, or the more further departure from what I've been doing, the greater the chances are that I can spur the wheels moving again. But this can be a massive mistake, because remember, what you've been doing has been working great. And whenever you're doing something really new and different, that means you're basically going from something that definitely, absolutely was working for you, and taking oftentimes a big random guesswork-based chance and hoping that it's going to move you forward on luck. Of course, sometimes you do want to make some changes and bring some new life into your workouts or into your diet habits. And when we're trying to do this, we always want to make sure that it's not change for change's sake, or just something new and novel that we saw on social media. Instead, you want to make sure that you're always going after your fundamental objective, and whatever changes you're making are helping you do that better than what you were doing before. So still going after a caloric deficit if you're trying to lose body fat. Still trying to develop strength if you want to get stronger, endurance if you want stamina, or challenging your muscular work capacity if you're trying to build muscle. The second mistake that people often make is saying, okay, in order for me to keep the needle moving forward, I gotta just knuckle down and work much harder than what I was putting in the first place. Now, like our first example, there's a time and a place for this sort of thing, especially if you're just starting out and it's like, well, I haven't really been that consistent with my habits and I haven't really been putting in that much effort, then absolutely, just putting in more time at the gym or getting even more dialed in on the diet, putting in more effort, can absolutely be the way forward, especially in the short term. But where this can really lead you astray is the fact that you can only work so hard. And with every additional amount of effort or hard work that you put in, your perceived costs and the stress on body, mind, and lifestyle is perpetually going up, and you're getting diminishing rates of return as well. So you want to make sure that if you're going to just put in more work, that it's a sustainable amount of work that you can do, and that it's not something that's just further breaking you down. So instead of just working harder, which a lot of times for many people is just doing more of the same thing, which is just redundancy, put more work and effort into improvement and proficiency of what you're doing. Hiring a coach, doing a little self-assessment with a video or workout logs to just look for the ways that you can do the things better, not just more of it. Because a lot of times our real true progress that we're looking to make is in improving our proficiency, not just putting in more elbow grease. And then finally, the third big mistake that people make when it comes to hitting a plateau is thinking you're in a plateau to begin with. Because plateaus are often more of a relative thing. It's kind of like a boat on the waves of water. Like they're staying afloat, but they're actually not entirely static. And the same goes for your body. You're never the same twice. Your body is different now than it was yesterday, and it's going to be different tomorrow than it is now. So you're always in a transient state to some degree. You're never actually in a true real plateau that's static. But the real reason why people often mistakenly think they're in a plateau is partially because of acute differences. Like, okay, so you've had a couple of rough workouts, so you're not feeling that motivated to stick to a healthier diet, or the weight on the scale isn't moving very much for a week or two. That's perfectly fine. That's always part of the process. Even though you don't feel like you're making progress, doesn't mean it's not actually happening. You could just simply kind of be getting your ducks in a row in order to make further progress. It's kind of like when mountain climbers go up to the top of Mount Everest, they actually purposely plateau at base camps to let their body kind of acclimate to the new altitude. And then once they kind of get used to that level, then they can continue climbing. And a plateau in fitness serves very much the same purpose. Your body and your mind, lifestyle, even your emotional situation with what you're doing sometimes just needs to sit where you're at for a while to get a little more acclimated to the level before you can keep going. And in this way, trying to get out of a plateau as quickly as possible is preventing that process from happening. And that's why it can really hurt your long-term progress. And lastly, make sure that you're having kind of a wide perspective, a multi-influential approach in your application, but also in your assessment of the plateau. Because a lot of times we think we're in a plateau because we're only paying attention to one metric of progress. Like if you're trying to build muscle and get stronger, if all you're paying attention to is how many push-ups you can do, then naturally you're going to plateau with how many push-ups you can do at some point. But there's a lot of other different ways that you can continue to get stronger with improving technique, adding resistance, improving programming, and so on. But if you're only focusing on how many push-ups you can do, then you're ignoring all those other avenues of progress. And the same thing also goes with trying to get leaner. If all you're looking at is the number on the scale, you're ignoring the fact that your clothes are fitting better, you're feeling better, you look better, your performance is better. You could be making tons of progress. But if you're too hyper-fixated on just that one metric, then it's the illusion of a plateau rather than the reality of one when you could still be doing great. I go into the beautiful, wonderful world of workout and training plateaus in more detail in my latest episode of the Red Delta Project podcast, wherever you get your local podcasts, as well as here on the RDP YouTube channel. Best of luck in your workouts this week, and as always, be fit and live free.